Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast, hosted by Mhkeeba
and Brittany, two former NFL cheerleaders discussing hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry
and revealing the truth behind the Poms.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. This is our Click Flash episode.
The one song I still like by Sierra.
Ooh, dis.
Sorry, I didn't mean that. But I'm really excited about this episode.
Me too.
It's been a long, week, but we have such a positive message to share with our guest today.
So let's taint it a little bit in the beginning.
Let's get the tough shit out of the way.
Yeah, a little bit. Chit chat. Let's do it.
All right. Final thoughts on NBA Circus Gate bullshit that we've all been on a high from. Shout out to everybody who came through with the posts, with the shares, with the mentions, and really represented for pro dancers last week. We had our little social media blitz, and everybody was really active and participating. So I don't know about you guys, but, it's coming off of like a lot of, not so much negativity. I was trying to look at the positive spin of it all, but I just think, one, we had a very, very large collective voice. There's still some things that I still think can develop from it all. So just thanks everybody for getting involved. But I kind of have final thoughts. Do you have final thoughts, Brittany?
So I don't know how you guys handled the social media blitz, but there's some guy that I'm like kind of still arguing with, and I tagged our account. So where are you backing me up? No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh, I missed it. I think I was all over the place on Twitter.
That's totally fine. I handled my own. I kind of just stopped responding. But it was really fun, and I just really appreciate the letter that you wrote that came from Mhkeeba, everybody. So that was a very well-educated, well-put-together letter. But it was really nice to kind of reference back because I needed that.
Well, thank you.
Of course. But yeah, let's wrap it up and just,
moving on.
There's a few, lingering thoughts that we wanted to put out there. So go ahead.
I just can't stop. People are saying don't stop ranting, but I'm going to try to stop. But here's my last little take, right? As I step away and think about the decisions to go co-ed, not a problem. We've been talking about co-ed stuff for forever right now. We kind of have mixed feelings a little bit, but we're excited to see how teams freak it. You can end up having an amazing team like the Rams. You can do really cool and different things that haven't been done before. You see co-ed in NBA, but not to the extent with NFL, so we'll see what happens, right? But, I think the reason that I got so emotional about the Seahawks changing, for example, was really not so much that they didn't fire their dancers, and I think the organization has a lot more respect than that. But it's just the idea of a woman coming into power, whether you're the CEO like the Cynthia Marshall with the Dallas Mavs, or the owner of the Seahawks organization after Paul Allen passed away, his sister took over. And I just don't understand what it is that they see when they see us perform, that instead of looking at us and say, oh my God, look at these women. They are beautiful, in the best shape. They are power walking and sass and just full of confidence and energy. And look how amazing they look. Something else is what they take away from looking at us perform, and it makes them want to cover us up. It makes them want to change what we do, remove our power, and that's what I take issue with. And it's not that I don't want to see all the teams do well. I mean, the teams that really screwed over the girls I have an opinion about, and I don't necessarily want their stupid ideas to be successful. I'll say that. But I just really want women to have a voice, and I don't think the way that these decisions came down, especially from women, is very respectful of that voice, and that's my issue.
Right, because like you said, nobody asked, hey, do you have a problem with this program? Like, I see that you really enjoy it and you're passionate about dancing, but is there another aspect to it that isn't positive for you? Or like, how can we change or do better? So yeah, like what you're saying, the Seagulls had their auditions. They kind of kept it really quiet this year. And then we found out later they were adding on some hip-hop dancers. It was open, so it wasn't just seeking, male hip-hop dancers, and they joined the team. So like we're saying, like that's really awesome that they're embracing diversity and inclusion.
And doing more dances. Like we went to a lot of games last year, and it was great choreography and everything, but I think they could use a remix of their music and offering of dance styles for sure. So it should be pretty cool to see what they're up to.
Well, personally, I am kind of sad. And like a lot of people are talking about the Seagulls being no longer, and it's like bittersweet. But I can't stop thinking about just how the tradition's now gone of Seagulls.
And we're talking like over 40 years of tradition. And a lot of these teams have been around for a long time. But you're right. The tradition is just out the window.
And I agree that men should be added in. There's no reason why they can't be participating. But it's just a little sad. My heart breaks a little bit just because that was the program that I sought after for so long and then danced on for so long. So it's just a little heartbreaking. I'm obviously very happy for the team that they have now and the new additions and all that good stuff. But just the fact that Seagulls, that name, doesn't mean anything. Like, I have so many warm-ups and, shirts and just things that say Seagulls on it. I was so proud to have. I was telling you kind of off air that now I'm going to have to tell my kids that I was part of a team that, like, way back in the day, they used to be called the Seagulls. It's just... I get that the name needed to change because it's very gender specific, right? Seagulls, but I just wish maybe they could have just added to Seagulls program, the men, and like a hip hop team, and like kept the Seagull program alive because it just does so much for the community and there's nothing wrong with adding to it. But yeah, I'm a little heartbroken, just to be honest.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that. Our history is very fragmented and everywhere. We don't have a Seagulls museum. Our uniform is up in the EMP, but in terms of the history of the program, all of our calendars, photo cards, like there's no place to go to see everything that comprises like our history as a squad. I'm always worried about that. It's kind of like, damn, I mean, you better keep your evidence that you were part of it because it's not like it lives online somewhere. You see other teams like the Colts and I think the Vikings come to mind. Their websites actually have a space dedicated to the history of the program. The First Ladies of Football, for example, they have a space that talks about the history of the program. And without anything like that for us, it's just kind of like,
we don't have a page like that.
We don't have anything that describes the history or legacy of what we were a part of. And that's what makes it sad. Maybe they'll invite us all back for like some 20-year reunion of the death of Seagulls or something. But like, it's hard to feel like you were a part of something when it's so easily erased.
Absolutely. And, I do hope that it does bring Seagull alumni together. Of course, we're going to welcome the new team and the new addition and the new name. But I'm just a little concerned that things are going to, like you said, just kind of start disappearing. Like, we have an alumni page where we support each other and post on there like, hey, I have this going on. I'd love if you ladies could join. And I'm just worried that that's now going to, like, have a different name. It's basically going to be wiped. And I kind of want to know where that stuff's going because... our uniforms and stuff, to me, they were cherished by each of us.
Oh my gosh. And everybody wishes they could have kept their uniform.
Right.
And if they're going to just throw it away.
Can we have the opportunity? Hello, Seagull, new team.
You can buy it back.
I'd love to buy it back. Something. I mean, no one would ever deface the uniform by like wearing it for a Halloween costume. And I know that that's part of the concern. I mean, I feel like we're totally going off topic, but I just would love some of those mementos back to truly remember it and not my sweaty, stained practice attire.
Exactly. I was about to say, everything that I own that has Seagulls on it is stuff that you just probably aren't going to wear out ever again.
Yeah.
But I totally agree. It's almost like they're artifacts now and there's no place for them. So can we just have it back? Like when we had our 40-year celebration with cheerleaders from decades back, I mean, it was amazing to be able to pull all of that stuff out of the storage closet and celebrate it. But I just feel like now that the program's actually gone away, what's the incentive to try to really expand and build upon that community and that legacy when you just dismissed it so easily?
It's fine that they want to evolve and change, but there is a tendency to be like, let's act like this never happened because it's politically incorrect or something like that, so like, let's just act like that never happened. And that's, I think, my concern, and that's where the heartbreak comes from.
It feels very knee-jerk in that way. It's just like, no, we got to do this, and then that's the decision.
Forget about it.
Just we're going forward with men, co-ed, hip-hop. There's just no variety, and I think you could have definitely added, like you said, a hip-hop focused squad that would dance with the Seagulls or
call them C-Men,
That's my vote for the team name. But I could have seen it being like an added to versus a replacement of.
Right. Totally.
There's mixed opinions out there. The press has picked up on it. The Times, the PI in Seattle here, and looked at all the comments. And, there's some ignorant ones like, I don't want to see men dancing. And I feel bad actually for the hip-hop dancers because I'm sure if it was targeted towards hip-hop dancers, I think they probably weren't thinking of joining a group of cheerleaders per se, because when you think about us on the field, our hands are on our hips, we're watching the game, and we are doing things to hype up the crowd. Like, what do hip-hop dancers do when they're hyping up the crowd? If they're like in a freestyle circle or something, it's very you know, it's like this b-boyish stuff. It's not like they're going to be up there rallying and clapping, and
it's going to be interesting.
It'll be really interesting because there are a lot of the comments, I think, that just make me hope that the men are prepared for the characterization of them being cheerleaders, even though they're
not
trying to be dancers on the team.
They changed the program. Yeah. Well, and that's another thing that I wanted to touch on is that the articles are extra depressing because I know it's these people that don't really understand the inside of it, but the way they're phrasing the titles is
like, what are some of the headlines? It's like,
you know, Seagulls no longer. Yes. Seagulls have been replaced.
Bye-bye, Seagulls.
Bye-bye, Seagulls. See you later.
Yeah.
Just a lot of those things. And, like, this is such a small fragment of, like, what the Kings went through. Because, like you were just saying, they're not removing the program. They're definitely trying to add.
Right. Nobody was fired.
Yeah, nobody was fired. But now I feel like I understand just even a little sliver of how they felt when their program was eliminated, because Seagulls has been eliminated.
It has. Like, they can try to sugarcoat it all they want to.
That's why it's like, it's not bittersweet. It's just bitter to me in my heart a little bit. And I think it's going to take some time. And I like to pride myself on someone who's good with change and okay with it. But when things like this happen, you kind of have to be like, remember you promised you would be okay with change, but this is just a little hard for me. It's going to take some time.
Agreed. And it's okay to
cry.
It's okay. It's okay to feel sad. I know people probably have put themselves out there as the angry cheerleader army, but I just wanted to at least clarify for the record that we support everyone. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what this podcast is about, and it's okay to have an opinion that may differ from everyone else. And totally. I'm just not, the go along with everybody person. I'm a leader in my own right and have my own brain, and I think sometimes it's uncomfortable to speak your mind, but I do it. And if I stick my foot in my mouth, so freaking be it. But we're going to move on because our podcast is fun and I have enough gray hairs now and wrinkles in my forehead to last a while. But this episode is Quick Flash because
we interview Lindsay Rosenberg, and she is just like flat out fabulous. There's nothing in the dance industry, film, art, photography industry that she hasn't touched and just totally left her stamp on and just been amazing at. Honestly,
I just love how super nonchalant and modest she is about her freaking background.
So humble, and just so personable. We feel like we have a new best friend. I do. Right. Do you? I kind of do. Yeah, but I don't know if she likes me like that. It's kind of like, I like you, but please like me back. Like, send me a smoke signal that you like me.
We love talking to Lindsay, but we just can't wait to share this episode with you. I think you will be inspired. I think you'll laugh. I think you'll just be blown away because her resume just is nuts. It's
right.
Absolutely nuts.
She had a little sign behind her when we signed on to talk, and it said, like, welcome M&B, and, like, she's just so welcoming, and I just think that focus on whoever she's speaking with in the moment just really makes you feel special.
It does.
So she just adds an extra layer of, not professionalism, I don't know, just extra layer of care that makes you resonate towards her and want to work with her.
Absolutely. She totally draws you in with love. She's a photographer, for the record. You'll learn more. But for everybody that she's shot with, building that trust and just really helping women know, like, I want you to look good and that's what I'm here for. She just sounds amazing. Whenever we get our lives together, hello Patreon, it'd be nice to go down there and do a photo shoot for the podcast.
Yes.
I would die.
I need to lose like 30 pounds, but that's another story.
Me too.
Anyways.
Okay.
All right.
There are some photo shoots happening in the NFL at the moment because there are all these new teams that have formed, and usually that's the first thing you do. Try on your uniform, take your group squad photo shot or your profile pic, and for some teams there's swimsuit calendars, so it's only appropriate for Cheer Chat that we call out what's been interesting at least.
Yeah. So a lot of teams, because they were just formed, they did not have the time yet to really make a calendar and all that stuff and set it up, but I noticed a lot of teams will go to Mexico. They go to these beautiful locations like Kansas City Chief. They're in the Dominican Republic, and they're doing what they call a content shoot. So I don't know if that's for the calendar, in addition to the calendar, but basically just things they can use throughout the season of their amazing showcasing the women.
Sorry, I didn't talk over you.
It's okay.
God damn it. But yeah, a lot of them are sponsored by Apple Vacation. So
what is that? Do they need to sponsor us before we talk about it? Because, like, hello.
I know, right? But yeah, it looks like a travel company, and they put together, I'm sure, the whole package of where they're staying, and they kind of obviously are doing a lot of promotion of the hotel or resort that they're staying at. But whenever people are saying, like, oh, well, they're so expensive to shoot calendars, you get sponsors. That's how you do it.
If you're doing it right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dominican Republic would be so dope.
Have you ever been there?
I have not. I've been to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I really want to
but
go.
obviously, but I love the Caribbean. Like,
Me
I
too.
would just stay there if I could.
Let's do it.
Let's
We
go.
can do this from there.
I know, on location.
Yeah.
But interesting. Okay, so there have been teams that have been going to Mexico.
Yep. So the Denver Bronco cheerleaders, it looks like DCC, they kind of do an interesting thing where their calendar only consists of veterans. So they kind of do it at the tail end of their season. So you're not going to have anybody like brand new on the cover.
We've had that happen.
We've
where
had
we've
that.
actually had rookies on the team that were there and around for the swimsuit calendar shoot, but didn't actually make it to the first game. So
Right.
when we're selling the damn thing, so
They're like,
it's a little
where's
awkward.
this girl? I want this girl to sign it. We're like, I'll sign it real quick. Or I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's
you
a
just
little
figure
awkward.
it out.
It's a little awkward.
But it looks like they're also doing a lot of things in the community while they're there in other countries, wherever they're shooting. So that's really cool, like cheer camps or just meet and greets and signing calendars or photo cards from the previous year. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think the Redskins, when they were in Mexico, they did a complete show. I don't know if it was like show group or just their performances.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
yeah, for the resort guests, what a cool treat to throw on there. I'm sure that's part of their little sponsorship package, like you'll put it on the show. But lots of great press, I would imagine, for these resorts, and a really cool bonding time for the ladies. Like,
That's awesome.
we're not jealous, we promise. But I didn't see a lot of swimsuit stuff with my teams. It really, like you said, was just people getting their act together, some of their profile shots. You know, I think sometimes they just have whatever was up for auditions for some of the people that are on the team now. The Rams did that last year, and they didn't even change and update their profile shots to be in uniform. They just stayed in their audition attire the whole year, which I think is a little weird.
That is a little weird.
But their photo reels are like 300 pictures long, so maybe they're just kind of like...
And everybody there is stunning, so it's kind of like,
Seriously.
you can't get a bad shot of them even if you tried.
Exactly. I thought the Vikings, when I went to their site, it was really kind of cool. They had like a solid gold shimmery...
Backdrop?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that word? Tinsel-y looking.
Oh.
That's probably not the right word either.
I know what you're talking about,
But it was a really cool background, I thought. Now that we've talked to Lindsay, I feel like I'm like a picture, connoisseur. But they just kind of had very angled... It would be like your face is totally at a 30-degree angle, but you're looking over here, like this kind of very posed. But
It didn't look natural or like
right,
they were
like just
comfortable.
it just looked very rigid. Like everybody had to give a different angle or something. But I thought it was a really cute background and a cute top that they wore. And then the Seahawks did post finally a squad photo. I thought the makeup was toned down. I don't know if that's purposeful, just to kind of blend in with some hip hop guys. They had 8 of them, and it looked like 8 rookies as well in terms of the ladies. But it wasn't like our typical glamour shot.
Right.
And I can't believe that would be their uniforms. I'm assuming that was probably just something else that they have for now. But Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I thought their profile shots were pretty cool because they were in fan gear, kind of like how the
cute.
Redskins video was.
Yeah, I
but
love that.
just seeing everybody's style, I thought it was really, really cute. But hopefully there will be more to say on this topic. But a picture is a picture, but
Right.
a picture is worth 1,000 words, especially if you have somebody like Lindsay shooting it. So
Of course. Okay, first off,
Yes.
I have a question for you before we start the interview. You were in 5 calendars, correct?
correct.
What was your favorite?
My favorite was the shot where we finally got to pick our own bikinis.
Okay.
Actually, not finally. I feel like I thought that the first year that they did bikinis was the year that I was off and you were on.
Correct.
And I don't know if they picked your bikini.
They did. They handed them out and they were like microscopic because they were for real models.
Oh, okay.
And like, I got some hips, so like it cut in. It was not cute, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
but they were handed out and there wasn't like a theme to them.
got you.
Then the next year, right? They
We got
did
to pick
themed.
them. Yeah, we got
Oh.
to pick them. So I picked my own theme, and it was like an island girl oasis mirage in my mind of the orchid in my hair and this really beautiful bikini that I had. It was pretty multicolored, but it was just like I had this vision, and this was the bitch ass salad diet year that I
Right,
got
okay.
onto the team. And so just trying to continue to get my body in shape for that swimsuit, I just felt really, really proud of myself. That's when I discovered planks. For the record, that were more effective than crunches.
Really? That was when you discovered planks. You've always
Yes.
had a 6-pack, so that was finally
That was the
it?
get your shit back together
Wow,
year.
okay.
But yeah, the
I love
planks.
planks.
Oh man, I live by them. Well, I used to.
I try to do that,
yeah,
but
but it
like
was
3 every 3 months is not going to help.
But yeah, everything just came together. My hair was perfect. My makeup was perfect. The flower in my hair.
You do look
gorgeous
stunning.
colors.
I mean, you always look stunning,
Oh,
but
thanks.
that one in particular,
That was
you
my
could tell.
favorite. Well, actually, they had me scrunched up on the fucking log. Excuse my French. That wasn't necessary to curse. I'm really working on myself, guys. But anyway, I thought I was going to be like stretched out because I have a complex and don't think I'm short. But I was like, ooh, I'm going to stretch out on this log and look all long and lengthy, because I did take some pictures like that. But then the picture that they picked was me with my knees to my chest, kind of.
Oh, okay.
So I was a little disappointed with that, but my legs looked bomb, and I was like, okay, this is cute. This is my favorite picture. What was yours?
Mine would have to be rookie year. That was when we still did uniforms, but I loved the uniform I was in. It was the dark pants and the halter top.
You love those pants.
I do. I love pants. Dark pants, for obvious reasons. And it was my first photo shoot, so everything was like super overwhelming, but I loved my hair, I loved my makeup, and yeah.
And you ended up on the calendar, the back calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Back cover, I should say. Yeah, I think if you weren't used to modeling, you found your calling in that one.
Thanks.
Yeah, because how many covers were you on? Let's be real. Brittany's being a little modest.
Okay, I was on the back cover, and then one. I think, yeah, just one.
Are you sure?
The big group shot. But I love that shot, too. That's like one of my favorites.
Yes.
That was like really themed Seahawks, but it was fun. That one was fun.
That was cute.
Yeah.
They really nailed that one.
It was my idea. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Do you have a least favorite shot?
Least favorite shot. Yeah, I think just the years where you do quite a few different poses and maybe you're feeling in your mind, you're like, wow, that's probably an amazing shot, and then it's not picked. So there's one year where I'm just like kind of sitting and like turned and like sitting there looking, and it's just all right. Okay. You know, it's not like, wow, it's bomb.
Well, because there'd be times where people cry over their calendar pictures.
And then you got to go out there and dance and talk about it.
I know. They used to do a reveal right before we went on stage at our calendar unveiling party. And so it was the most awkward way to try to see the calendar for the first time. But the director would be at the top of the stairs and like flipping each page in the calendar, and everybody's like, ooh, you. And then some people were just like visibly upset.
And then the woos are like, ah. I'm just kidding. That never happened. Everybody built everybody up, but some people are just way harder on themselves than they should be. Yeah. Like, they look stunning. Come on. Yeah. She would never produce a bad photo.
I think people were probably more upset about placement. Like, they didn't get a big page versus a little border page or something.
I never cared. I mean, truthfully, I'm not even trying to.
I knew my ass wasn't getting picked for any of that shit, so I was kind of like,
why is my ass in a calendar to begin with? I'll take the back little, just sponsored by, you know. Where's Waldo? I'll be in the background. I don't care. But anyways, let's talk to a real photographer who uplifts the women that she photographs and just makes them the star of every photo.
One day we will meet her in person and give her a big fat ass hug. We love you, Lindsay. We cannot wait to share this with you, so let's just get into it. See you on the other side. Because I don't know anything cooler to say. How are you?
Oh my gosh, hi.
We're so excited to see you. So what's behind you? Like, what's all of this
stuff?
Oh, well, this is my makeup room, and all that behind me is Polaroids of my clients. I usually take them.
What do you not do? That's what I want to know.
Seriously, man, like
I don't cook.
Okay.
There we go. I wouldn't either.
I thought of that rather quickly.
Probably because you have zero time to do that.
That's true too, but I'm just not good at it.
I'd much rather eat, personally.
Yeah.
I lose my appetite when I cook, so I'm not interested.
That
I have to feed my children, so.
See, that's what I'm afraid of. That's why I don't think I can be cut out to have kids.
You have to like,
oh right, you have to
eat them. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're just beyond, like, I ecstatic. I'm trying to get out of my like fangirl mode and like jocking you, but your past life in dance that you referred to, you're so modest. Even on her website, you were like, oh, I've done some stuff. And like, this is like one movie, like they got a bunch of awards. I cannot handle how modest you are. It's great.
I know. Yeah.
Why?
I just feel like everybody's super talented and everybody does a lot of stuff. And it's hard because, you know, like once you kind of go in another direction, it's like, who am I? What do you hold on to? What do you let go? If people ask for my resume, I have no idea, like, where do you even start? Yeah.
It's kind of like Jane of all trades, master of none. But I would kind of say you're like master of everything.
Yeah. I don't like to do things that I'm not good at. So like cooking, I'll never even attempt it. Because I'm like,
Nay.
Probably not going to be good at it.
My goodness. But we're just going to like let the convo flow all over your background because
All right.
so you'll have to act like you're not Miss Modest Queen and just give us the goods because you've done so much and it's too cool to not share. So we're going to dig it out of you one way or the other.
All right. I'm also drinking wine, just so you know.
Oh,
good.
I was thinking that, but I'm like, I'll be professional, like don't drink.
Yeah.
I'll be the non-professional.
Well, cheers to you because we should be drinking too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your time.
Likewise, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be on the show. And congrats on the 3rd season.
Thank you.
We're excited.
Yeah, it's
Can
awesome.
we tell you the name of your episode?
Yeah.
Well, okay, you probably know it.
Now I'm like, I forgot. Go for it.
Click Flash by Sierra.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So perfect. You
excited. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself in a maybe that 300-foot view, and then we're going to just drill down into all those little juicy details. But where are you from? We can start there.
All right. I'm originally from Orange County, Irvine to be exact. So I grew up dancing, and because I was so close to Los Angeles, my mom kind of just threw me in the TV film industry pretty early, and I did some commercials when I was younger, and then I just kind of got into professionally dancing and did some things. And
Here she goes with the doing. Okay, you guys, for the record, we didn't really introduce you properly, but we're so excited to have Lindsay Rosenberg on our show. This is the Click Flash episode because Lindsay is a fabulous photographer among many millions of other things that we cannot wait to introduce you to. So with that said, what was your first professional dance job?
Oh, well, as an adult, I'll say there's a difference between auditioning as a kid. I did some commercials, like an RC Cola commercial. That's no longer around.
I know what it is.
I know it too.
Okay.
As being represented as a dancer in the industry, I think my very first job was actually right when I turned 18, and it was a Dr. Dre music video.
Dr. Dre? Cut it
Yes.
out.
Yeah, what song?
Okay, so it was Bilal featuring Dr. Dre and Jadakiss, and it's called Fast Lane. And yeah, it was so scary because it was my very first job, and I've never been on a music video before. And it really wasn't, we had a dance to get the job, but I didn't really dance. I sat in a chair the whole time
Oh, okay.
with a fedora on. So.
Ooh, I'm gonna be looking for you.
Oh, yeah. Can we link that below? We can if you're okay with it.
So that was my first video job, and then I would say my first live show was actually a Super Bowl halftime show. That was pretty intense. I've never done sports before that. That was my first sports experience, and that was pretty cool.
What artist was it?
It was which Super Bowl was it? It was in San Diego, and it was No Doubt.
Super cool.
Yeah, Shania Twain, Sting, No Doubt. And Destiny's Child did the anthem that year.
Whoa,
Oh my
super
goodness.
cool.
Yeah, so all around it was a incredible experience.
You weren't in the NFL at that time. You were like a backup dancer, right?
Yeah, correct.
Cool.
So I was just dancing for No Doubt at the time, and I think it was the first time that Gwen ever had dancers.
Right.
So it was like a kind of a special experience, and just also doing the halftime show for Super Bowl is bananas. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No Gwen pun intended. I worked with a lot of good artists. I did a lot of great jobs. I feel like I am definitely blanking on some of the things.
We'll help you out. We'll touch on it.
But TV, film, commercials, movies,
So
stuff like that.
sports, in terms of pro cheerleading, what was your first role?
So that actually goes back technically when I was 17. I was in high school, obviously, and the community college that was right next door, there was a dance team on the community college, and one of the girls broke her ankle. They needed a backup. And so the freshmen were asked, ask anybody you know that you've danced with.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to enroll in college, basically. and learned to dance in 2 weeks to go to Vegas to compete. And the woman who ran the dance team ended up becoming a major person in my life. She was a huge mentor. Her name is Amy Edmondson. She reached out to me a few months after this competition and was like, you are still in class, you're doing hip hop. I need some help with choreography. Do you want to help me out? And I said, yes. And it turned out that that was going to be a routine for the Laker girls and another routine for the Clipper girls. So that was kind of my first experience dipping my toes into the pro world. And I ended up doing this a lot with her and different teams. And every time we went back to the Clippers, I just really fell in love with them. I liked them. I liked the vibe of them. And so I ended up auditioning, and I didn't make it my first time.
What?
And
I can't believe that. I was going to say that dance competition that you got added to probably won the competition, huh? Because
probably.
you won it.
I actually don't remember.
She doesn't even remember.
We'll say for fun. Yeah, it did win. But yeah, I didn't make it my first year, but because I kind of knew the director, she was very encouraging she told me I should definitely try out again and not to be discouraged, that it was just my numbers. And basically after that, I got a random phone call from the director of Clippers, maybe somewhere in September, October. And she said, I was wondering if you could come to Long Beach today in about 20 minutes. I need help. Somebody dropped out of Pro Bowl cheerleader choreography day, and we need somebody else to join. Can you come? I said, yes, of course. I rushed over there and was put on the team of all the Pro Bowl cheerleader choreographers. And to thank me, they sent me to the Pro Bowl in January, which was in Hawaii. So that was probably in 2003.
Cool. Wow.
So that was my first experience. And then the next year I ended up trying out for the Clippers again, and I got it. And I did Clippers, and every year went back to Pro Bowl as a stage dancer for the halftime show.
Oh, neat. So how many years did you do Clippers then?
I did Clippers for 3 years.
Got you.
Cool.
And while you're doing Pro Bowl halftime performances.
Yes, and still like at all of the dance teams in LA, most of the girls are represented by agencies. So we're just like hustling all over the place. But the good thing is there was always a nice break during Pro Bowl in the NBA season. So it worked out that I was able to always do it. And my director also worked for the company that I now work for at the time. So it was a big family. But I work for a production company currently, and that is E2K. And E2K produces a lot of events with the NFL, and they've been working with the NFL for over 30 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So putting together all of the performances of the Pro Bowl cheerleaders and stuff like that?
Yeah, so they actually founded the Pro Bowl cheerleaders program, I think back in 91. And they founded and produced a lot of dance teams: Kings, Warriors, Chargers, Nuggets. Niners, I think, was their first team, and Clippers. So
I didn't know that.
This is a little pro cheerleading history moment.
I know, it's very special.
History bomb.
She's like, actually, I'm the CEO of okay, but anyways.
Not even close. But I do work with legends, like just incredible legends in this community, and was raised and mentored by the greatest humans. And all these people have either been on teams themselves or were directors or founders of the company.
Yeah.
That is so neat.
Wow.
So, okay, we had an episode, now I have to ask. It was called Supersonic, but it was about for NBA All-Star dancers that we thought, duh, they have it too. And every year it's, they pick up the All-Star dancer and they do the whole show at the All-Star game. And is E2K responsible for that as well?
No, actually. With the NBA, it's a little bit different. They started that program in 2007, and that was my year.
Nice.
You were an All-Star dancer?
Yes.
Of course she was.
For the Vegas game, 2007. That was the first year they did it because there was no home team. So usually with the All-Star game with the NBA, they use home team cheerleaders. So even if dance teams. So if that is in LA, it's usually Lakers and Clippers, but normally that's like the host team and they host. So when they do it in a city that doesn't, and I don't know if this has changed, but I know that they didn't stick with the All-Star program for all the years. I think they've only done it sporadically.
Yeah, which is like, get it together, consistency. Like,
they really should. It is so fun. It is so fun to be on that side of things, and that experience was wonderful. And just to know how the PBC, how Pro Bowl Cheerleaders has grown into such a sisterhood, I just feel like they should absolutely keep it going. One of my best friends was the Nick City dancer from my year, and now she lives next door.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so like they are friends for a lifetime. That stuff's no joke.
We like have kind of adopted ourselves into the sisterhood. I feel like when we went to Orlando and just saw a little bit closer like what that experience is like, and just the immediate bonding. I don't know what E2K does and how they structure their time together, but the bonding is 100% clear. It just seems like such a beautiful experience that they have for life. Literally like instant love for one another. It's just so sweet to see. And we're PPC sort of, kind of not really, but we cover them all, so we feel like we know.
That's how I feel too. I've never even cheered for an NFL team, but I feel like I'm an adopted sister.
Right.
Somehow. I mean, I've done enough, like I did Pro Bowl choreography for years. So if you guys have done Pro Bowl choreography passed on from your Pro Bowl cheerleaders, chances are.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do Back It Up? That was one of my favorites.
What year was that?
Couple years ago,
2014, maybe.
It was Prince Roy or Royce or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
it was cute and fun.
Yeah,
and there was another one that I loved. Oh my gosh,
was it Whip Your Hair?
I like that.
That was nice.
That was our rookie year.
That was my rookie year, and I was like, "What's going on?" And like the Pro Bowl cheerleader from the year prior, Nicole, who's like super gorgeous and fabulous. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And she was teaching us, and so overwhelming. But I'll never forget that dance.
Yeah. That's so cute.
Me too. I could kind of remember that.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh, you totally remember it. Choreography, why wouldn't you? No.
Well, yeah, there's only a few that I could kind of remember. I did, you guys are probably too young for it. I did Tambourine.
I love that song.
I've seen it with YouTube video, like searches of like Pro Bowl stuff I've done.
So good.
Oh my
That one's my favorite. I think I was with I want to say Kansas City Chiefs cheerleaders in London, and they were doing choreography, and I was like, wow, that looks really familiar, but it wasn't to Tambourine the song. And Stephanie, the director, said, oh, we take PBC choreography, and we just like, when we need anything last minute, we just put it to another song. And I was like, I think I choreographed that one.
That's so funny.
Like, we've had that one for years. We have the best choreographers.
Oh, I love the Pro Bowl routines every year. They're always the good ones.
I know, they are so fun. And there is something special about it. And I think with PBC, honestly, that family mentality and that sisterhood, that's really the way E2K runs their family-owned business. And it's just, there's so much heart in it. And the people who have been doing it and the people who do it now, who even just started, just have such a love for it. And it really reflects through PBC. It is really special. NFL, you have a little bit more time and appearances and in front kind of stuff. With NBA, it is really just about that, a couple performances and with the celebrity game and that halftime show. And it's not necessarily all about appearances. I feel like that's kind of a big difference with
to justify grabbing girls from all of those teams. And
right.
Fine. It makes a little bit of sense, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe they'll realize what they're missing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we see there's just so much more. We haven't even gotten to the quick flash, okay? But we're very, very familiar with pro cheerleading. You were pro dancer in the NBA. You've done all this Pro Bowl stuff in the NFL. When did you move into the photography space?
Well, let's see. I always was interested in photography, but I very much kept it as a hobby. And I really didn't think anything of it. I started working with the Gold Rush cheerleaders for the 49ers. I started working with them very closely. Aaron Olmstead, who was the director at the time, now the president of E2K, and my best friend and mentor and superhero. She was directing, and she needed some help with the calendar shoot. So somebody recommended me. She called me up. We had never met, but I have worked with her because she directed the Pro Bowl halftime shows. So indirectly, I worked with her. We never met in person. I flew up north to her house and we took a road trip basically to do a week-long calendar shoot. And from there, that kind of started I was like on this woman's team. I love her. She is the best. And I just loved how she ran her team. So anytime she would ask me for help, I was down. And at the time too, I think then she started bringing me in for choreography. I don't remember, but I would just show up every once in a while and choreograph for Gold Rush. I can't remember years now. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But I started with the calendar. So every year we would do the calendar together. And one year I said, hey, can I bring along a camera and do some behind the scenes stuff? At this point now, her and I work so closely and I knew what went into calendar, which is so much. And scouting locations and getting the girls dressed so they look their best. And then when you have a photographer, and not to say that these photographers were great, but it's really hard to be a dancer that's supposed to be a model as well. Those things aren't real.
For the people in the back.
That's a completely different skill. And just because you're pretty and you look great doesn't mean that you know how to do anything in front of a camera.
Right.
Is completely different. And so when you're not feeling comfortable, or if you feel like, you trust your director, but that's kind of it. You don't know this person who's taking your photo if they haven't been a photographer for your team for years.
Right.
And they were wonderful. I actually really liked the team that we were working with at the time, but also they were guys, and
Exactly.
guy photographers and girl photographers are very, very different. If you look at a photograph, and especially at the time, if you're looking at a photograph of a girl in a bathing suit on a beach, it just had this like outdated feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I thought too much about it then, but I did ask if I could bring my camera and just snap some behind the scenes. And trust is a big issue when you're dealing with pro cheerleaders. So I really wanted to respect that and make sure that I was just getting them in the best light. And so I did some behind the scenes.
Sticking out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you're like looking, whatever, not your best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I did a whole behind the scenes photo shenanigan. I sent it over there to the Gold Rush, and the Niners really responded to it. They loved it. They saw some of the behind the scenes. I think they thought, let's include some of these in the calendar, maybe like on the back, or let's
place the ones that are in there.
Yeah.
yeah, let's do something with this. And unfortunately, I didn't take photos of everybody. I just actually started on the second day because I just felt like I didn't want to overstep on the photographer's end either. So the next year, Aaron said to me, oh, by the way, everybody loved your photo so much that you're going to shoot the calendar.
Wow.
And I said, no, I said, I can't do this. That's I just learned how to use a camera. I was coming from more of a film background at the time, and I kind of just learned how to use a camera just because I thought it would come in handy, and I didn't think it was going to come in handy that much.
And that quickly?
Yeah. So the following year, she hired the same photographers, but added me on as well. And
they liked yours again. She's like, yeah.
I'm nodding my head, yes.
Yes,
yeah, they did. Because the girls opened up to me. They know me. They trust me.
Yeah.
They know that I'm never going to compromise them. And that trust is really hard to gain within an hour.
An hour, not even a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially when the calendar is like, so everybody's putting so much pressure on themselves because.
And it's so permanent.
Yes. And it's a big deal for your team, and you think it's the biggest deal of your life, and
you have to sell the thing.
Right. Yes. So, it just, these girls would live it up around me. And the next year, Aaron said, no, don't even question it. You're doing the whole thing. You'll do it. I promise. And yeah, I did it.
That's amazing. Did you have to do the editing and stuff yourself? Like it was a total project from beginning to end, or?
I was able to get an assistant.
Cool. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. At the same time, I wasn't going to be picking out the photos.
I see.
The directors and all the people involved with the Gold Rush, we're going to do all of that. So I just send them all of them, and then they'll come back. I don't think I did edits. I think we have them edited. So that turnaround's pretty quick. And then everything has to be approved by the organization and all that stuff. So I don't remember it being too bad in post for me. But at that time, that was kind of my only photography gig. That's when I started thinking, okay, maybe there is something more to this, and reaching out to my friends who were already prestigious in the dance industry. They were on tour or doing big jobs. And so I thought, I'll just shoot you because it will look like I've booked your work. It isn't me. So I reached out to my popular friends and kind of just slowly started, and agencies started really responding to stuff that I was doing with dancers in the industry. And then at some time, I feel like Instagram became very big for teams to also be able to have a space. That took a while. The Instagram and cheerleading teams took a minute to get there, but we had such good content that we were able to really utilize a lot more of my photography for the team. And at the time, Erin turned her team over to Christy, who's now the director of Gold Rush currently. And she was very much like, I want to build them up. You make them look so good. And we have everything at our disposal. Let's really make them look the best that we can. And I know, because I was there, I know how not cute these photos usually look.
Right.
Because they're photos taken by sports photographers who are good at shooting athletes running across the field and making them look graceful. But when it comes to dance, that's not their athletic specialty.
Take photos like game day, like live action as well?
Yes. Usually I go to, well, with the Gold Rush especially. This year I'm going up to the home opener. I'll take a massive amount of photos that they could just use as content throughout the year. So I pop in every once in a while. Once you start getting into the seasons of like October when everything goes pink, or when they're doing military home game, or all those things end up, and then December being Christmas, it's really, if I don't get in at the beginning of the season, they'll only have costumes pretty much throughout. Right. So I have to
That's a good point. Yeah.
Go early.
With what said about male sports photographers, and just, I always, when I used to be on the field, would get so pumped whenever I'd see a woman photographer, period, because there's such a male-dominated, yes, drink that wine, girl, such a male-dominated space in general. So whenever I would see female reporters or photographers, it's just like, yes, you know, but like, how would you say your approach differs from like what you've seen in a lot of the pictures that the guys take? We're going to definitely link your work because it's fabulous on your website.
Yeah, your Instagram, I'm like obsessed. I could never stop looking at your Instagram even.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I rarely post because I put way too much pressure on my own stuff. I have the best content in the world, and I post like once a month.
Oh my gosh. Let it go. Just
I know. Honestly, to be extremely transparent, it's quite easy to capture my own choreography. And that is kind of how that started. And then on top of it, once I started going more photo and less choreography, it's simple. I can just count an 8 count. I know if they're going to hit
You do
8 and 1, that stuff's easy. I know if you're ball changing, your leg's going up. I know where your leg should go. I know what line looks good. And that's the difference.
And you're not going to submit a photo where like a kick line's off or something. You're going to be like, no, you know what I mean? There's so many photographers that we've encountered where it's like, why was that submitted, period?
Why?
It's not even about how we look. It's just as a team. It's not.
As a team. Do you think we were trying to get all uneven legs?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. And this is another difference, I think, between men and women, because I do know women photographers in the NFL who are doing sports, and they have a different approach as well.
Right.
And some of them will come in and, you know, shoot the girls as well, and they look beautiful. I don't want to generalize, but I think men just come from a more technical world. And so they'll look at the photo and see lighting and shadows and clarity and think it's beautiful and not notice that somebody's foot's flexed. Whereas women will see lines and just altogether see a different picture. And to me, I think that is the big difference. I erase plenty of photos all the time that will never see the light of day, that immediately leave my camera if I know that I wouldn't be happy in that
Bless your
photo.
heart.
Right.
That's just a whole different level of respect, just because it seems so small, but it feels like your earth shatters when you come across a picture online where you just look terrible, or just there's nothing good about the picture. And it's not that you're being overly critical. It's just a bad photo, and just
it tears you down.
I mean, you really feel like uber doo-doo. Like, it's just horrible.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you add that there's technique involved in what you're doing. And if your technique isn't perfect, not only do you think you look bad, but you look like a bad dancer. And then all of a sudden you're representing your team in that photo. That to me is just a combination for a horrible photo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So basically, dancers can do anything and everything.
Right.
I think that Lindsay's proof of that.
Exactly.
100%, I think that is what I've learned growing up through E2K. It is an entire company based off professional dancers and cheerleaders, and nobody works harder.
Right.
And they do everything with grace.
We're athletic, we're artistic. Now
Hustlers.
Crossed over to photography,
Yes. And you always know that you're never the best at what you do. I think that is what is the wonderful part. Also the downfall. As a dancer, you always have more to learn. You're never done learning. So you're never comfortable with where you are. And I'm learning that in now having a second passion and a second place where I, again, feel like I'm not good at this all the time. I will always say, I'm not good at this. And I remember saying that about myself as a dancer, because I wasn't technically trained as a dancer. I was more of a performer.
I don't believe
Here I am again. I taught myself how to use a camera, and I have the same insecurities that I don't think I'm good at this. I mean, when you're shooting people who are gorgeous and know how to move, it's like, can't anybody do that? It just seems really easy. But I guess I have to just keep telling myself I'm awesome, just like we always do.
Yeah. Right? It's a journey to kind of be in the self-pumping it up all the time space.
All the time.
That little mental chit-chat. But the proof is in the pudding in terms of your work. I mean, I'm so excited to share it with everybody, because, I mean, you're like a legend.
I know, and you're so stunning. Like, I was like, I don't even know what she looks like. And then boom, like, oh my gosh.
I have good lighting.
So P.S., when we were looking at your bio, I noticed that you didn't put in there what you had on the website about the movie.
Oh yeah,
the little detour that you took with the short film that won awards that you left out just now. But can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, can you speak on that? Or
this kind of this is a pinnacle moment for me, because it did give me this major. Oh, okay. I think I'm okay at this kind of stuff, but it was more focused on film when I was younger, and just didn't really like it. I started going to school for film, and I just wanted to edit. To me, editing was like choreography. You take a bunch of stuff, you put it together,
make it look good.
And you make it look good, and you make a story out of it, and you give people the feels and, all that stuff. But I did not like going to film school in Los Angeles. It was just not my thing. So I changed my major to something completely different and just did film on the side. And once I learned how to take photos, I started having a lot of fun making photos turn into video. So that became a whole nother thing. This is pretty silly. Over 3 years, I was just going through bad breakups, bad guys, lots of emotions. And usually I just like to create stuff when I'm sad. So ironically, I realized that I saved all of these text messages, and I just had kind of a digital storage box of anything from any relationship that I was having during this time. And I realized that there was a pattern going on, and they were all very similar, and none of them were in real life. They were all people who lived far away from me. And so it was all digitally based. Now, this was way before, I want to say the word sexting wasn't even a thing. I had a BlackBerry at the time. This was.
So she invented sexting too? Jeez Louise.
I'm pretty sure I did. I think I did.
She's like, I'll take that one too.
And so I heard a song on the radio one day, and I couldn't get it out of my head, and I just started seeing flashes of photos. So I went through all my screen grabs that I've taken from these many boys. And I reached out to a bunch of girlfriends and I said, hey, I'm just trying to like clean out my brain. If there's any photos that you've taken that are cute on your phone, can you send them my way? I put together this whole thing just to make myself feel better. And it was about 2 minutes long to this song. It's an Italian song. I don't even know what it means. And that was it. And I sent it to the girls who contributed photos. And I said, here, take a peek at this. This is what I made. Thought you would want to see why I asked you. And one of those girls put it on Facebook. And then I had a couple people reaching out telling me I should submit it into short film festivals.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to until I realized I looked over the film, and you have to put everything, like your budget you spent on equipment, any kind of monetary thing. And I didn't spend any money on it. So it was a lot of $0. And it asks you what kind of camera or equipment you're using. And I had my phone, and it was all kind of funny. And I had no production team. I had nobody, just me. And I submitted it, heard back, got in, ended up winning the Audience Choice Award. And then it went on to other film festivals that I couldn't attend because they were all over the world. And
holy cow. Okay. Please drop the film festival.
Yeah.
This film is, I think I watched it maybe a year ago, but it is so outdated now that it's really funny because technology sped up like right after that. So, but yeah, it was in Hollywood. It was the Hollywood Short Film Festival. It was in Tribeca. It was in somewhere in Thailand.
France. She's like, the Pope saw it. It's whatever. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but I remember when I found out. I do remember it was the first of the year, so I just saw that I overdrafted my checkings account. I had zero money, and I had my film accepted, and I thought, like, this is such a Hollywood story. Be a film director. But that's not what I did at all. There was a manager of a band who saw the film, and he reached out, and I ended up conceptualizing the same kind of film for a band.
A music video?
Oh,
super cool.
Yeah, so that was a very big accomplishment on top of that.
Yeah.
So.
Is it still accessible so that we can share it with
Yeah, I want to see this.
I
I
wanna see
probably
it so
have
bad.
seen it. I'm going to see it and like start.
I guarantee you have not seen it. And yes, you can absolutely see it. Oh man, it's so outdated. I feel like it ages me, but yeah, I should just
documents a moment of time right before technology and selfies and everything blew up. That's why it's so important and special.
Yeah. Like, and I think people are probably, hopefully we're getting like over it a little bit. Like, I love throwback anything now just because there was a time where things were just.
You're taking a picture of an actual picture now. Like, that's special.
Yeah.
You know?
right. And what I was writing about has become such a normal way of life that it's not shocking at all. It's every day. Just being ghosted or finding out people have other relationships or whatever it is. It's so normal now, and it's so sad. And I also hope that it's going in a different direction because it's not cool.
No.
Yeah. I'm dying to see this. So
yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Okay. So cool. Oh my gosh. So this is all somewhere in the middle of dancing and still doing everything. You just happen to do a short film on the side that ended up all over the world in festivals. Okay.
It's so big.
No, just
Now she's on our podcast, you know. No big.
And she started
Oh my
this podcast.
Yeah.
No, like what?
We should. Stories for days.
Oh
I
my
bet.
goodness, I can only imagine.
Yeah, so I would say this was the moment that I was feeling I needed a change from the dance world. That every job I had ever done professionally, I noticed that I really loved what was happening behind the scenes.
Okay.
And I think at this moment, I started realizing, I don't know if I am the performer I thought I was. I think I'm more behind the scenes. Yeah. So I started slowly removing myself. And that was from everything. And that was probably the hardest decision ever. I started choreographing for the Pro Bowl halftime show at a certain point, and I always danced in it as well. And it came a time where Aaron Olmsted, my director, said, you really have to consider taking yourself out. And I was like, why? Why would I ever have to do that? And then I realized it was getting way too hard to do both. Let me focus on making the show great because it's not about me anymore. Every aspect of my life, I kind of had to take a step back. In turn, that made me more involved with dance than I ever thought I would be. And this side of it makes so much sense to me. My involvement with dancers and cheerleaders, and actually also people who are hoping to try out for teams that will fly to see me to take their photos and kind of prep them a little bit on my end of things, has become something that I really enjoy, and all through photography. So I definitely think now that dance wasn't the destination, it was the journey. And now I feel like I am in this place where this feels right. I'm meant to be behind camera. This makes sense to my body.
That is so awesome to even get to a point where you feel like you found that, especially when you hold on to dance so much. I don't know. I felt like I was
absolutely
holding on. I wanted to get to my year 5. I just love hearing your story because you're just showing so many different options if people think outside of the box of really what they're good at, what they gravitate toward, what they're really passionate about, and realizing that you can still be connected to dance. But once you retire, that there's also so much more that you can tap into and explore that still touches dance, but in a different way. And it's a beautiful story. I mean, I don't know how we stumbled across this path of having a podcast, but listening to you, it actually makes sense. I wasn't really feeling ready to like completely let go. I'm a research dork by nature. I always would pay attention anyway to what was going on. I'm so nosy. I would see trends. I'm like, ooh, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. But it makes sense that we're doing a podcast now, but it's just funny how you end up finding your way.
Absolutely. And I think too, I hear it all the time with the dancers in the industry that I see who come to the house to shoot. You need to not think that you're going to have to give up dance one day. Dance can always be a part of it, even if you're not physically doing it. No matter what, it's in you. When you're early on in your dance careers, when you should start looking, how can I make this last forever, even though I know my body's not going to be able to do this forever? And I think I had that thought. That was my very first game of my rookie year on Clippers. That moment, I was like, this is amazing. I want to do this forever. How can I do this forever? And you need to look at everything that you do with dance as a business that will last beyond years, and kind of seeing where is the longevity. And I think girls really, and which is why I really appreciate your podcast, because there are so many amazing jobs that have come through the pro cheerleading world that I don't think people would ever know. Because really, I think as a dancer from when you're little, everybody just tells you, well, you could always teach dance or you can always own a dance studio. And I think when you're in the pro world, your network says to you, well, you could just be a director one day. So you have 2 options in your life, basically.
Yeah.
You're either directing a team or you're owning a dance studio. Both not easy things. And I don't know why it gets thrown out there so much. But you connect yourself so much to the identity of what you were doing when you were on that team, that what would you be without it? But really, what you guys are doing is creating your own path and your own job and pioneering for other people. And I really appreciate that, because you're also giving other people a voice to say, hey, this is what I did with my pro career, and this is where I went with it. And to be honest, even if you are somebody who is doing accounting and dancing on the side, dancers need accountants. We are not You're not mathematicians. You should specialize in doing it for dancers while you're in the dance community, and then allow yourself to be that person who does accounting for dancers and understands that completely.
It's mind-boggling for every other industry where you think about the ways that they're connecting for, and I hate networking. It's like either I gel with you and we have something in common or we don't. But just the opportunities of connecting that just get lost because you connect maybe with your team. If you go to Pro Bowl or something like that, where you're meeting people from other teams. And I know there's a cheerleaders association, I think, for like the NFL or something like that. But I just think there's just such a missed opportunity for us to really share with each other, like the breadth of experiences, different avenues and ways that people either become pro cheerleaders or what they've done afterwards. And so, I mean, that was part of the vision. And I'm just, thank you for the feedback, because it's just, I'm dying for these stories to be shared, because we're the dopest damn profession to me, you know?
And there's not a lot. There's not a lot of us. It's a
No.
very tiny world. And when you meet each other, it's really special. And I love that you guys are covering other avenues of professional sports as well. And I love that you guys also cover the international group.
Yes,
thank
they're
you.
so
That was super fun. That was wonderful.
It's so fun to talk to you.
yeah.
It was such a great show. We're just such a small family. There's not a lot of us out there. And the only people who understand our experience is us.
Yeah.
And because we are taught to be really protective of our brand and our organization, and we're also taught not to really talk about it too much.
Yeah.
And, but there's so many wonderful things to talk about on top of everything else. And this has just been so much fun to listen to and to reminisce and to even hear when you guys question London, and I'm just like raising my hand in my car, like, I know, I could tell you that answer. You know, people should know about this industry and know where they can take it, because those people that are also trying out for those teams that want to wear that uniform have no idea where we could even go with that beyond. And it's not just being the next Paul Abdul, which was the only thing that like my reference was when I was
Oh my gosh.
everybody was like, are you going to be Paul Abdul? And I'm like, I don't know. Paul Abdul covered that already.
I think Lindsay should be a retired dancer therapist as well, like a life coach, and be like,
oh my gosh.
let's figure out
I would totally.
your life's going to be okay if you're not like twerking, you know, but
Well, how do you coach your clients that come to you, like you said, that are just eyes stiffen up in front of a camera? I always take crappy photos. Please fix me. Or are you teaching the girls how to model a little bit? Are you looking at bodies and kind of being like, this is a better angle for you? I mean, are you doing the whole suite of become a better picture taker person?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of?
A little bit. Like I guess for me, knowing how I feel when somebody's taking my photo, even when I'm trying to give my clients an example of a face they should be making, I can't do it. I'm just embarrassed. But I'm very honest about that. And dancers are perfectionists. There's no doubt about that. So the first thing that I kind of tell them is, it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Nobody's good at headshot. Why would you be good at taking a headshot? You do it once. When you find the one that you want, you keep it as long as you can, because you never want to go through that experience again, because headshots are the worst. And especially for stuff like the dance industry here, that people are investing and they know that everything is riding on this headshot, especially when they get to a place where they've done it for a few years and they're just not booking jobs and their agents are telling them, you need new headshots. It's as simple as that. And as dancers, you think like, well, casting directors should have imagination and I'll just show them how great I am. But that's not how it works. Nobody wants to see how great you are without looking at you first and saying, yeah, this girl looks perfect for the job.
yeah, you got to sell yourself on paper and a photograph first.
Right.
So much pressure. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
It is a lot of pressure. And I think just knowing that, I make it a very warm environment and let them feel like you could be so stupid right now. You don't need to know anything. I did not hire you to come here to show me how great you are. You hired me. Let me make you look good, because this is what you came here for. So we'll find a shot. We'll get there. I know together we'll do it. But I allow them to have first 10 for nothing. You're going to hate them. Know that. Know that you're going to fail. Know that you don't know everything. And to dancers, I think you are in a fake it till you make it kind of place your whole life, that until you that you don't want to fail. I could be good at taking a photo. I'm good at this. And when people come in and they're like, I'm really good at this,
And you're like, no, let me show you how bad you are. No. And then show you how I'm going to make you better.
yes.
Yeah.
So, and then there's just like a couple tips and tricks, because taking pictures on phones versus taking photos on cameras is super different. So anything that you usually do on a phone when somebody else takes your picture doesn't translate well with a big lens. So kind of telling them that and just coaching them through things. And also half the things that I'm asking them to do are going to feel foreign to them as a dancer.
Yeah.
So I it's a lot of like, let's break it down until it becomes second nature. And I think I just allow it to be like, it's your time, don't worry. And I know there's guys are more business based in photography. There's a few of my quote unquote competitors, and they are so great at what they do, but they are more business based. And I am not. So mine is an enjoyable experience. I'm going for longevity. I want my clients to come back, and I want them to feel like they have a safe place and they have their girl. Like, you know, you go get your hair done and that's your girl for life.
Yeah.
Like, you trust her with your hair. She's yours for life, or he's.
That's why I have this mop, because no one touches it.
That mop looks good.
I need to find a girl on the hair. But anyways.
Yeah, so I want them to feel like I got you. Like, no matter what, we're going to get there. And if it's ugly, and nobody gets to see it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I also check in. I show them the photos. Not when I'm doing photo cards with cheerleaders. I don't check in with them there. They're not allowed to.
I was about to say, I
that
could
would
see
take
this
all
being like, because you know,
year.
exactly. The perfectionists the dancers can be, especially for that shot where, you know, they're trying to get it perfect, or they have their own criticism, which I'm kind of, there have been times at photo shoots where I'm like, did you really just go up to the camera and look behind the thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And give your 2 cents? And I'm like, you might want to leave it to the experts, but I'm sure you'd see it all if you actually gave people too much input.
Yes, somebody's going to have a breakdown.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for people, like you were talking about, dancers are perfectionists and it's really hard to like get out of your head and let the artist shine. So do you have any advice for people just to like keep pushing?
Yeah, there is a job for everybody. I know that it seems that only a certain type of person will book stuff, whether that's from pro team or in the industry, but that is completely false. You are a human. You're an actual human. And eventually somebody's going to look at you and think, you are perfect for this. This is for you. And when that fails, it just means it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
That wasn't your thing. And with pro teams, I could really see that. There are girls that have tried out for the same team over and over and over again, and then they go somewhere else and they get on that team and they thrive. Yes, exactly.
They're their star.
Once you know, it's only a matter of time, and you have something to offer, and you just need to keep showing it, because there is a place for everybody. And that is really true. And if it's not one thing, the world's trying to take you to where you need to go. Yeah. And you need to follow that and not deny yourself of one path. And I feel like for me, when I was auditioning, when I was much younger, I always got called in for cheerleader roles, and I was very offended by that. I don't know why. I think because I was like really trying to be a hip hop dancer, and I was like, I am not a cheerleader. I don't know why I'm getting called into these roles. And then it wouldn't stop. And then I booked a bigger job, ironically, with Paula Abdul. Now that I'm going back to that, but she did a DVD workout series called Cardio Cheer. And I was on Clippers at this time. And obviously, like, NBA and NFL are so different in the sense of NBA, our dance team, and NFL are cheerleaders. It wasn't until I started working with the NFL that I really respected what a cheerleader does and what that definition is. And it is something that the NFL doesn't do. It is so different. So when people would say, oh, you're a cheerleader, I'd be like, no, I'm a dancer. So I was trying to be taken more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then I booked this through Clippers. I ended up going out on this audition and booking this Paul Abdul cardio cheer thing. And I thought, I wonder if the universe is trying to take me somewhere. And so I kind of put up my hands and was like, cool, I'm a cheerleader. And all of my jobs after that were, I started booking so much work. I was always on a cheer team, whether that was in a movie or working with cheerleaders. And
okay, so were you in Bring It On or what? Is that what you're trying to tell us? When you were?
I was not.
Oh, I thought she was.
It wasn't a cheer-based movie.
Okay.
But it was a cheer team. I like that I'm like now playing a guessing game with you.
I know. I'm like trivia.
I'm going to make you guess.
Ooh. A cheer movie?
Nope.
No,
it's not a cheer movie.
Okay. Give us a time frame. We're going to play this game.
All right. 2000. Let's go 2011. And it is an action movie. And we're not technically cheerleaders, but we're a team of girls for one human. You're never going to get
Iron Man.
Wow.
Was it?
Am I
right?
Brittany?
Yes. That was absolutely correct.
Well, I only know that because Melanie was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know Melanie.
I do. Yeah. I know her. I also know, and this is super random, not talking about Iron Man, but Melissa, she was your Pro Bowl cheerleader 2015.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and her at the
Such
airport.
a small world.
We were actually on All Star together. She was the Portland.
Oh, the
That's
Blazers
right.
also.
Yeah.
Cheerleader. Okay.
Yeah. So
Super cool.
but I really liked her and working with her on Iron Man. I feel like I worked with her on something else too,
That's
Melanie. I don't remember what though.
Right.
Small world.
But yeah, the world was kind of leading me in this other place. And if I denied it, I wouldn't be getting the jobs that I got. And I wouldn't have wound up in the road that I am going and I love. And it's everything to me. And so, yeah, I would say that good photos and knowing that you should follow your happiness and follow where's the world trying to take you. See where that is and go with it.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Amazing.
I mean, slow clap for real. I just was thinking like, wow, if I had that kind of connection with the photographer during,
What would our seasons be like?
you know what I mean? Because this
Yeah.
is what's happening right now. Everybody's made the team. They're excited out of their minds. They might be getting makeovers. They're about to take that like iconic in their own life profile shot. And, for me, I used to be so excited, like this year is going to be the year I take a good profile picture. And
It's 50% you though. Like I think she's proven that a lot of it has to do with the photographer and the team behind the final product.
dude,
If you don't have a quality team behind you, you're going to end up looking like Amanda Bynes with a really bad Oompa Loompa tan. Like I did.
It's true. And I can absolutely tell when a girl doesn't trust me when I'm shooting them. And when they don't trust me, they won't do anything that I'm asking them to do.
And they won't like their photos.
Yes, exactly. There are times too where those days are so long and I'll notice that I'm getting a little cranky and I know that that might affect somebody. And that to me just is like, oh man. Because you remember that bad photo for so long.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too to think for people who are listening, even if they don't have a wonderful person like you behind the camera, if they try to lean into the process a little bit with the photographer or try to have your guard down so you can establish that trust, it might just end up with a better experience. I mean, you're phenomenal. I mean, everybody would obviously love to be able to shoot with somebody like you, but even with all the different photographers, and they're not bad. I just don't think I probably trusted them I thought it was all on me to make the photo look good.
And another thing is some of our teammates would watch while you were getting your photos taken.
That's a lot of pressure.
Getting ready as well. And I always felt more insecure about that actually.
They were judging
I think
you.
if I was like in a private room, I probably would have been more happy with my photos because I felt.
Yeah, absolutely. When you guys audition, when you're doing your auditions, are you private or is it everybody?
In a line, everybody can kind of watch. Yeah.
Different phases of it, yeah, because even for finals, it's really the two of you, all the judges, and maybe the people doing commentary, and everybody else is down a hallway. But there is definitely the first couple rounds where people are watching or you just kind of feel judged.
Or even when you make the team, and you're in your uniform and you're just like, oh my gosh, everyone's watching or whatever.
Right. I mean, and honestly, I would say I could relate to that. It takes you to do one good photo to kind of understand, but honestly, those bad photos will teach you a lot about yourself. And you can compromise what you're doing with the photographer. If the photographer's asking you something and you really don't think it's going to look good, your support should be your director, right? Like whoever is with you in that moment that is saying that this is looking good, you trust them. And honestly, this is when you're on the team. I would like to shake a lot of girls and be like, why do you think I'm trying to make you look bad?
Yeah, right.
None of us want that for you. I want you to look
The best.
incredible. I want you to look better than anybody on the planet. Trust me with that. And it does take a few misses for you to understand, like, you guys, you know your angles, right? So how did you find out your angles?
Photos.
You took a bad photo and you find out what that is. And that's tough too, because no photographer wants you to refuse to move around, but know your strengths. Also, a few things to always keep in the back of your mind. The thing that's closest to the camera is going to look the biggest.
Right.
So if your face is the furthest thing from the camera, your body is going to look bigger than your head. If your head is closer to the camera, that's what's going to absorb the light. The thing that's closest to the light is going to steal the light. So make sure that's your face at all times. From there, you should be able to figure it out.
I'm all like leaning into
I
the
know.
camera, like, is this good?
How big our heads look.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I feel like it's perfect.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
so people actually can fly in. Let's just give the commercial really quick. Your website, we'll link it below, but you've had girls travel and do a photo shoot with you. Is that right? For
Yeah.
other and stuff?
Actually, one I just found out she made Seahawks. She came,
Oh.
yeah, she booked with me early and she said, I want to go to you. I think that I really need strong photos. She showed me some of the examples of the photos that you guys use to submit for auditions. And yeah, she came in and we had a long talk and we talked about interviews and all that stuff. And I just kind of gave her my 2 cents, and she actually brought a bunch of stuff to wear, and I was like, you should probably wear that dress to interviews. I think that would be really nice. And yeah, we just kind of talked about the whole process, and she ended up making it. So that's exciting. I like hearing that. And then sometimes I also link up with teams. So obviously with the Gold Rush, I do workshops for auditions. With Gold Rush, I do a headshot session. So girls can sign up, and
Oh, got it.
during their workshop, they'll be pulled out and get ready and take a headshot that will be submitted for auditions. Especially if the team you're going out for asks for headshots, it is so important.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't take that very seriously. When I think
trying to
about
think
my
what I did.
headshots, they were not. I mean, it's a miracle I was on the team, period. But like when I think about this conversation, I'm like, man, I really just.
Because you really don't think that it's going to be about a photo when you have to go in and dance. It's the photo that excites them in the beginning. And so then all of a sudden they see you and yeah.
With the connection, yeah.
And also that photo can save you. So a lot of teams will have like a moment in their auditions where it's kind of like, let's put these people on the table. Different teams work different ways, but there are teams that, is there anybody who you want to fight for? And those pictures will come out. And that's not for finals, obviously. That's just preliminary round. But those photos may come out and you want to represent yourself the best in that moment. And if you're kind of doing everything to work in your favor beforehand, then it takes a lot of pressure off for your audition.
So true.
Yeah.
And then when you make the team again, just kind of having that right perspective of every opportunity that you're taking photos where you get to prepare for it. I think maybe I over-prepared and never delivered right, especially around swimsuit calendars. God, that used to stress me out so bad.
Yeah.
But
I never did a swimsuit personally, but that has to be just like so scary.
it is.
Ugh,
But
it sounds awful.
A lot of teams are doing those photo shoots now too, like their swimsuit photo shoots. And man, good luck, ladies. Kill it.
Yeah. Go see Lindsay.
Seriously.
Headshots ups your chances for sure.
Oh my gosh. Do you play music during your photo shoots out of curiosity?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite artist to play? To get people in the zone.
Ooh, that's super hard. I don't go by artists. I have a giant playlist.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. When I start in the morning, if I am going for artist, it usually is an Otis Redding or like a Beach Boys. It will be like very neutral. And then it builds throughout the day. And then it's just like by the end of the day, they're in their sexiest look and it's probably Level Up or something.
Cardi B something.
Yeah. To make them just feel like they're performing.
Maybe that's what I needed during my photo shoots, like some Rihanna, something playing.
Yeah, Beyonce.
I had never lucked out like that during photo shoots to actually have something inspirational playing. It was always like wind that was making my eyes water.
Rather than hearing families play
or a duck being in the freaking lake behind you. Anything to kind of screw up your photo shoot, that's what happened to me.
That's
oh my
good.
Gosh. Thank you so
thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. This was so great. And also, I just want to say, if you guys ever are in LA, please come. Let's shoot you.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, just do it. It will be fun.
Oh okay.
I'll have more signs around my house.
Yes, that's so cool.
Your names were too long for me to
Right.
True,
Yeah.
very true. No, we have to come visit for sure. I mean, we've been dying for this interview ever since
I know.
we got booked and we heard from you. It was just kind of like, can't wait.
Me too. And I was nervous.
You were nervous?
Yes.
I'm still
Why?
nervous. I'm
Today.
kidding out.
Me too.
Why were you nervous? I have to know.
Because I don't know. I'm like not great at interviews. And then you get in your head. It's like,
You're amazing. You're so well spoken, and like you kind of
Great
changed my
storyteller.
life. Like you need to be my therapist.
oh my God, I love you guys.
We'll set up more 1 hour sessions with you.
Yeah, so we'll meet next Thursday, same time.
Did you come up with a locker talk story for us?
Oh,
Oh man.
I did. I thought of a few, and I'm not really sure if
It counts.
it counts. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you like a very positive locker.
Perfect.
What are we calling it?
Locker talk.
Why can't I almost said locker shop? What a locker shop be? I have so many, but I think the one that resonates with me, especially for this, what we're talking about,
Okay.
I'm going to go back to a moment in, it must have been like 2014, I guess, Pro Bowl. The artist for the halftime show was Rachel Platten. So my job at Pro Bowl, and I don't know if this counts because I'm not performing, but
It's okay. Yeah.
does that still count?
It still counts.
All right.
Absolutely still counts.
Okay. So my job for the day of Pro Bowl is basically just artist stuff. So make sure she gets in the building with the band, set her up, set up food. And it's not just me, there's a team of us. At this point, she was getting her hair and makeup done, and she came with her hair wet because that's a very normal thing. Now, we were in Hawaii this year. It was, I think, maybe our last year in Hawaii. And somebody else hired her hair and makeup team. And I don't think the communication was as clear as it needed to be. Nothing wrong with these girls who did it. It was just, we were missing some information. So the hair girl just kind of looks at me and she's like, I didn't bring a hair dryer. And it's like, we don't have a lot of time till this show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll figure this out. And her clip-in extensions, I mean, she's performing. She has to feel good. Her makeup's like almost done. I walk in to check on her and she looks at me and is just like, it's great. She is so sweet, so lovely. And I can tell, this isn't what she wants. And I need to make sure that it is what she wants because this is my job right now. So I act like there is some kind of thing that she needs to take care of. I pull her out of the room and I'm like, are you okay? And she says, it's fine, totally fine. I don't think I communicated what I needed for today. So I walk into the room and I kindly let these women know, like, we're good. We're golden. She's good for today. And thank you so much. We'll get you paid. And I pull her into the Pro Bowl cheerleaders locker room and it was like, help, we need to take over Rachel Platten. And I think it was the Dolphins cheerleaders was like, do you need my eyelashes? And here's a curling iron and here's a blow dryer. And everybody just kind of threw their stuff at it. And also pretty exciting for these girls.
Right.
One of the last things I heard was, oh my God, Rachel Platten's going to be wearing my eyelashes. But it was down to the wire. I'm sitting there curling her hair, putting makeup on her. I'm not a makeup artist, but we're dancers. We'll figure this out. We have enough tools here to make this happen. And everybody kind of just, in a beautiful way, joined forces and made sure that the show must go on. And
That is like the dopest story.
it was extraordinary. I think that was one of those moments that was pretty huge to me because already I have this crazy amount of, I hope this show looks good. All this stuff, it's my choreography. Is it good? Is it bad? And then getting the artist to the stage is always stressful and it's just walking. Like, it's hard. But when you're like yoinking up her shorts and zipping her top, and we've got maybe at this point, we are running down the hall with maybe 45 seconds till we go live. And that's probably the scariest part of a halftime show is that countdown and those stages get locked in and everybody's just so hyped. That 2-minute warning into halftime, it is adrenaline that I have found nowhere else. But that performance, especially, we were just running. I'm pretty sure like getting her last things zipped up and ready to go. And she didn't even have time for anything but to run up on that stage and start the show. I leaned against that stage and just started bawling because it was so cool. All this stuff happened and those girls were so wonderful. And also I did makeup and hair for the first time. That was cute.
So when you catch up with you in 5 years, you'll be like, yes.
A makeup artist.
That's a great locker talk.
Was that an okay one?
That was great.
Perfect.
Okay. I have funny ones, I have embarrassing ones, but I thought that one was on brand.
I think it's so on topic, like with everything we talked about, just bringing out
so
the best
true
of
to you,
people.
like so positive.
That's funny because I'm pretty negative. My podcast persona, she's pretty positive, but
I feel like we have to have you back, like a recurring guest. I don't know. We're figuring something out.
let me know. Also, I really think if you guys can make it to Vegas for Pro Action.
We were talking about it. We were trying to make it work.
Yeah.
So.
Two broke chicks, right?
Let's figure it out. But let's figure it out. I feel like it would be so great. And, you know, there's just so many incredible things about that. And even if you're just coming to watch or however that works. But
watch. I almost died going to PRO in Atlanta. Like literally, I was just like, I'm out of my league. That was a sign that's meant, you know, for real dancers. I was just like, I'm just gonna sit down.
It's honestly how I feel too when I'm there. I don't think I could do it. It's
demanding.
The talent is outrageous.
Yeah.
So are you teaching?
Oh no. No. I just shoot the whole thing.
Choreography anymore?
No. I mean, I hop in every once in a while. Like I'll do the Thanksgiving halftime show for Detroit. I'll do Pro Bowl. Gold Rush I did once last year, but I was like so tired. It's so hard when you're not doing it at all. Wow.
Right.
And it's just, I feel like there's just been a major, I definitely am starting to feel my age. Wow, these kids are really doing a lot. I always feel inadequate.
She's like, I'm turning 25 in months. I think it's the eldest son, man.
I don't even think I don't think I'm crazy old. It's just like, as a dancer,
right,
a lot smaller and more intricate.
How do you feel about that trend? I mean, you've worn so many hats. Now I know I'm keeping you, so actually tell me to shut up because I will.
I do have thoughts.
You've done NBA, you see NFL, and it just seems like there's a blending of choreography style, I don't know what you want to call it, of the elements that show up in NFL routines now that's just kind of like, to me, it's not translating. I mean, they're like...
It's not as fun to watch, to be honest, because it's kind of like, wait, what are they doing? Even if we have close seats, but you're kind of like, what's happening?
Yeah. Or just, it just doesn't, I don't know, it falls flat, and it's so sad to watch because it's like such great choreography and it's super intricate, and I'm like, maybe that'll look awesome like on an NBA court. But what do you think of the blending of styles, or do you see it, or share all thoughts, because I could go on and on and on.
Here are my thoughts on that.
Please do it. Please do.
It's a bit of a torn world because basically I think every team is trying to survive and trying to showcase how great their dancers are. And with that, you have more intricate, harder, smaller stuff, which is wonderful for numbers on when you're performing for the Jumbotron cams and I'm specifically talking about NBA stuff. When that stuff is getting put onto your team's Instagram and it makes you guys look great, wonderful. But the game day experience is completely different. I recently had the Clippers reunion. I couldn't dance in it. I wasn't available, but I went to watch. And it was funny because you have the 80, I think it was 89 to 99, those girls. Then you have 99 to 2009, 2009 to 2019. I liked the oldest girls the best because they looked great. They were huge. I was sitting probably like suite level, let's say. I could see exactly what they were doing. It was awesome. And then my age group came on and I was like, that's cute, a little smaller. And then now group came on and they didn't even look like they were moving. It was just like teeny little movements, and I didn't understand what they were doing. It wasn't translating to a game day experience. And I think that's really the difference. If you're just trying to project something for a video that's right in front of you. And I also think that that's what makes great NBA and NFL dancers is the fact that who else gets to perform for 90,000 people?
Right.
However big your stadium is.
Yeah.
But you don't get that experience too often. So the fact that you're now performing for a camera in front of you kind of takes that whole thing out of it, but it does keep their engagement and their numbers up, which makes their teams see value in them. And that's the pull. That's what's really hard about it, because you want to showcase that we're badass Betties. We can do everything. We're technical, we're athletes, we're this, we're that, the other thing. But to an audience that bought tickets, that's not really showing too much. So it is super hard to say which one's better, because who's going to survive? So yeah, that's my only thoughts on that, is if you're performing for your audience in the 300 section, or if you're performing for your Jumbotron guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So interesting, because it's catch-22. I'm definitely caught in the middle. I love it and I hate it. Or I just appreciate more the styles from earlier years.
I think it is great. I love that. And I love being able to see the girls, especially NFL. You guys are far away.
Yeah,
Mhm.
super.
And bigger is better in that sense. Also, with Poms, it changes it up completely. If you're doing tiny things with Poms, it just
Doesn't look good at all.
it doesn't translate that well.
No. Okay, I could clearly, we said it over email. I could talk to you for hours. I mean, because there's so many trends. Okay, last question, maybe? Oh gosh, shit. Sorry, okay. Guys, what do you think about guys in the NFL?
I think it's great. It's super tough, because I do think it's great. I think it's one of those things that is needed. It can't be turned down.
Right.
But at the same time, it kind of feels like another catch-22, where you're like, but wait, these ladies should be made a big deal of all the time. And then the guys come in and it's like, hooray.
Yeah, you showed up.
Yeah, like you're doing it. But I do understand why it's good for
Yeah.
guys. And I understand why it's good for everything that's happening. But it also, I wonder what I would feel like if I was on a team in that moment. And I think I'd be very proud. But then what happens if more teams start taking away jobs from women for men? It's just very confusing.
Yeah.
It's such a confusing time right now. But then again, having a relationship with the Rams, I think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are incredible. And I wouldn't want that any other way, especially when you're in LA. That's exactly how it should be. And if they weren't on that team, it would be super different. So I don't know. I'm so curious of how this is going to go. I think it's great. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Time
kind of
will
where
tell.
That's kind of
And And I think them having a difference from, like, I know what was it? The Ravens, they have their cheer guys, and that's a totally different ballgame. These guys aren't here to like throw girls in the air and be muscle. They're here to dance. And to me, that is rad. That's awesome. There should definitely be more of it, but also these girls should also be acknowledged for their awesomeness. So I don't.
It is confusing.
Yeah.
It's just a confusing time. It's a sensitive, confusing time, and I love it, and it's hard, and it's weird, and it's yay. So, yeah.
All those things, all the things. Thank you so much. I just couldn't help myself.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And then also another thing I just wanted to tell both of you is Vegas seems way easier than me saying you guys have to get to London, because that.
What are you doing in London?
Just the same thing we do everywhere. We work with the cheerleaders. We do everything with the cheerleaders. So we have the home team, and if usually the other team brings about 8 girls if they have girls, or a drum line or a mascot. So we kind of just do entertainment stuff.
We'll be there.
So do you do all of the games? All of the London games?
I actually don't do all of them. I do usually 2 a year. So now there's 4. So I do 2. Maria Giannini, who is the director of Pro Bowl Cheerleaders, she does all 4. So yeah, she gets that fun experience. But It is my favorite time of year. It is
I love London.
the best in-game experience ever besides a championship game.
Wow. That says a lot. It does.
Right?
We'll get there one day.
We're going to make it happen, Captain, one way or the other.
Yeah. You guys, it was such a pleasure meeting you and talking to you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Sorry to keep you like way the hell over.
No, it's super fine. You guys need to eat, and I have plans to watch the Vanderpump Rules reunion, so.
Well, have a wonderful night, and we'll be in touch for sure.
It was so nice meeting both of you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Bye. Brittany and I just looked at each other lovingly like, oh, let's hug. That was just such a feel-good interview, wasn't it? I just felt her positive LA, cool as shit,
We told you so.
nonchalant vibes. I know.
We told you at
Did
the
you feel
beginning
it?
that
Did
she
you feel
was.
it?
We're gonna tag all of her accomplishments down below, right? Her
Yes.
video.
Yes.
Mhkeeba found it.
We found that short film, Lindsay, and I love it. It's not even like as throwback as she tried to make it sound. Like, yes, so all of that stuff was still very relevant. It's an awesome short film, and it shows exactly what happens when you're hella into a guy and it's all hot and steamy, and then his ass gets all light on the text and disappears. But just such a talented woman, and I love how she uplifts women and spend her time with us. That was just so cool of her, and she's done so much. And I think especially because of everything that we've been through in the last week, like we weren't personally impacted. I need to quit acting like this shit happened to me. But it kind of did, just by virtue of us being a little sisterhood out here. But there are so many things that you guys can do that touches dance. So I would just say be encouraged, be inspired, and think of what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and tie it to dance somehow. There's a way. Clearly, I like talking a lot. Here we go. Podcast about cheerleading.
But I loved how she was saying, traveling and stuff. That's always fun. And I know that's one of our goals is to go to these Pro Action and PRO and just all that fun things and go to London and go to Mexico and just really take the podcast there. And even the podcast is something that you can do that touches dance. And I haven't even danced in probably a year.
I know, it's been crazy. Are we changing that?
We're going to change that.
We're going to change that. We have definitely been touching dance, but not touching the dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get back to it.
Yeah.
And for all the ladies, keep dancing, for sure. Keep dancing and stay encouraged. There are awesome people out there rooting for you. I think we all saw evidence of that, and we can't wait until next week. Until then, just keep following and posting and talking to us. We love hearing from you on social media, Instagram. I've officially relinquished my takeover of Instagram.
So yeah, if it's getting a little silent, it's because I'm afraid to jump in there because I don't know what Mhkeeba started, and I'm like, I'll like this photo and then back out slowly.
I will slowly ease it up on Twitter as well. I know I look like the mad woman on Twitter, and I've posted the letter like 50 million times. So
no, it's passionate.
It's okay. We're shaking it off and keeping it pushing. And what else are we doing?
We just appreciate all the, communication on all our social media. So just keep it up. Send us your questions. Send us your concerns. You'll have a listening ear for sure, whether it's Mhkeeba or myself. So we just really appreciate all the new support and the new followers. And
Buddy, where are you?
downloads.
Our YouTube buddy.
Oh, he
named
disappeared?
Buddy has been silent. Buddy, I'm highly offended. I don't know where you are. I'm sure you're still commuting, maybe even on vacation, but I expect you to be back on the scene and letting us know what parts of the episode cracked you up the most. So,
and we miss you.
We do miss you. I sound like I'm about to kick your ass. I promise I'm not. But until next time,
keep your eyes on the sidelines, baby.
Woo!